Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. A few days ago, did a video about the cost so far of Operation Branchform. It's hitting nearly £1 million. In fact, by now, it's undoubtedly gone over £1 million. And it seems like a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that much. And it'll be worth every penny should they put certain people in prison for a very long time. But we don't know what is going on because another revelation has come to light that no communications have occurred between the police and the SNP for nearly half a year. What is going on? You do all this investigation, you have these questions, you get the arrests out of the way, and then nothing. You don't question anyone in the SNP for nearly 6 months. Now, either things are ramping up until charges are being dropped and they have everything they need, or it's being slowly forgotten about in the hope that somebody will call time on it and they won't need to progress any further. That, of course, must not happen. If the Scottish police feel they're unable to progress, then it must be handed over to, say, the Met or Manchester Police or some other force outside of Scotland. But we'll take a look at this, see what's going on and see why nobody is talking to anybody. Seems very shady, really, doesn't it? Here goes. So, Operation Branchform, no communications between top Scots cops and the SNP for 5 months as the probe heated up. Why is nobody talking to anybody? Why is nobody asking these questions? Why is nobody telling the press and the people what the hell is going on? We deserve to know. Anyway, there is no recorded communication between the SNP and Sir Ian Livingstone or Fiona Taylor between May and October, right when Miss Nicola Sturgeon was arrested by cops. Now, of course, Ian Livingstone, of course, was the previous Chief Constable of of Police Scotland, and Fiona Taylor, I believe, is the I think she's the superintendent in charge, or the Chief Inspector or the superintendent that's in charge of the investigation, at the ground level kind of thing. I think she was. I think she's just been bumped up, hasn't she? She's now I think she's now the assistant chief constable, as I remember. She was. I think when this started, she was a superintendent, and she's gone up. She got promoted up. Anyway, Scotland's two top cops and the SNP did not communicate officially in the 5 months where the probe into party finances heated up. Between May and October, Operation Branchform continued in its most dramatic fashion, as former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon was arrested in June. She was taken into custody for questioning by detectives who were investigating whether there was any criminality involving the Nationalists in regard to allegedly missing ring-fenced £660,000 of IndyRef 2 cash. This is still a live police investigation. I don't think there's any doubt that there's a criminality there. They said it was ring-fenced. They said it was for this purpose. And they can't go, there's the money now, because they've spent it. Well, they certainly haven't spent it on IndyRef, so why have they spent it? If it was supposed to be ring-fenced and the money was given to them purely for that purpose and they've spent it, then that's fraud. And that's as simple as that. There is no alleged, it's fraudulent. There is criminality. Anyway, just 2 months before the shock arrest of former SNP leader, her husband, Peter Murrell, was also grilled by cops at a police station. What's truly shocking is that they didn't arrest all three of them at the same time and question them together, so they didn't have the opportunity to get their story straight or to steal and destroy or burn or whatever any kind of evidence. By doing it the way they have done, they've actually, I think Ian Livingstone have done that deliberately, perhaps, to ensure that there will be no charges. A man who's basically, we think, in the pocket of the SNP, allegedly. Be careful with what I say here, but you understand exactly where I'm going. Anyway, now the Scottish Daily Express can reveal that there was no recorded correspondence between the then Chief Constable of Police Scotland, Sir Ian Livingstone, or his deputy, Fiona Taylor, who took on his responsibilities temporarily when he stepped down between August and October the 9th. She is also following out the door at the service as she's due to retire at the start of next year. And that will mean there will be 3 leaders of that investigation in such a short period of time. no wonder it isn't going anywhere, and you have to wonder how deliberate that is as well. New Chief Constable Joe Farrell started last month and has already caused controversy after getting an officer to give her a ride home to England in a marked car during Storm Babette, taking away frontline policing at a time of a national emergency. Didn't pay for it herself. Has official residents in Scotland decided going home would be better, putting other people's lives in line, including that officer driving on his own all the way back, taking up virtually a whole shift just because she wanted to go home, and she hasn't paid his wages for the trip nor the fuel, I believe. And that's another one who really needs to go right now. After all, it is in effect theft. She's stolen resources, fuel, time, etc. for her own personal use. If that's not theft, I don't know another word to describe it. And certainly she now needs to consider her position and resign. Anyway, we asked for all correspondence between Sir Ian Livingstone and or Fiona Taylor and or the SNP regarding Operation Branchform sent between May the 1st, 23 and the date of the FOI, which was at the start of October. But in response, the police wrote back, in terms of Section 17 of the Freedom of Information Scotland Act 2002, this letter represents a notice that the information requested is not held by Police Scotland. By way of explanation, no recorded information is held. In other words, they've asked for all the correspondence and there is none. Or at least there's none that they're prepared to release, and they're pretending that there's none. That also has to be taken into consideration. They are notoriously sneaky on both sides, SNP and Police Scotland. You can barely believe any words that come out of any of them. Seems to be the way in Scotland that anyone with authority just lies, randomly, but continually. In his last interview as Chief Constable, Sir Ian Livingstone admitted that the investigation into the SNP's finances, which has gripped the political world, was difficult for him due to his close working relationship with Miss Sturgeon, and therefore at that point should have reneged on that and said, I can't deal with this, and handed it over to another force. That way there would be no obvious political oversight on the administration of justice. Oh, but this is Scotland, and we know what will happen. Dorothy Bain will say, oh, there's no case to answer, or, for the government of which she is a member. Stinks, doesn't it? He also rejected any claims that the probe was being motivated by political perspective. Again, more bullshit. These people and their lies continue. They can't help it, can they? With critics on both sides of the nationalist divide making claims of biasness. Well, the fact that it's taken so long and that they weren't all arrested at once and the investigation is so obviously skewed in favour of getting these people off, there's no doubt that there's political biasness. But he said, I would fiercely reject any sense that as an individual was motivated through any political perspective. I am not. Well, I've got to go with Mandy Rice-Davies on this one. He would say that, wouldn't he? Not for a second, he says, my priorities are the rule of law and public safety. And again, we know that's not, strictly speaking, true. Leading experts, law experts, legal experts, have pondered why the investigation has taken so long. It's so people get bored and it gets cancelled and the whole thing goes away. Why do you think? It's been 30 months since the initial complaint was made to Police Scotland. Kevin Drummond, KC, and Douglas Cousin, I don't know how you pronounce that name, so I do apologise if I get it wrong. Both former sheriffs said there were questions for the Crown Office over the protracted period of time taken by the probe. We covered that in the last video on this subject. But Police Scotland have already refused to put any sort of timescale over when the probe will be finished, as it is complex work. If day one they handed it over to an outside force, if they'd arrested all three and questioned all three at the same time, and gone to the house while they were questioning them, and removed everything they thought was evidence, and then they could sit there and go, well, now, let's have a look. And you get a whole team of forensic accountants in. This would have been put to bed a long time ago. But of course, that would never be allowed to happen. You can't have the dear leaderine being charged and put in jail. That's not what happens in Scotland. No, it's far more corrupt. Anyway, I shall round off there. She'll come up and we shall finish the video. Come up. From day one, we knew what this would be. We knew it would be drawn out. We knew that it would be worked in such a way that no charges would ever be brought. because everyone in the justice system was working to ensure that justice was never done. It would be seen to be done, but it would never actually be done. No charges will be brought. There'll be various reasons. The investigation was flawed. Things took too long. Oh, it was awfully long time ago. Let's all move on. Yes, let's allow thievery, corruption and embezzlement to flourish where it could so easily have stopped if only you had a police force that was not owned and fully in the pocket of its political masters, and for whom the head of the justice system was not sitting within its own executive. What do you expect? Justice? Never in a million years. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope that has enlightened you somewhat. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, and please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Goodbye.